All right, so how much does it cost to buy a house? That's what we're talking about in this next video coming up. All right, welcome back to the YouTube channel, you guys. I'm Jason with Greater Nixa Homes, and on this channel, we talk about all things real estate from Nixa all the way down to Branson. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, hit that like button, leave us a comment down below. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's just jump right on into it. Today, we're talking about how much does it actually cost to buy a home. Now this can really vary depending on obviously the type of loan that you're getting. Down payment requirements are, anywhere from 0 to typically 20% on a conventional standard loan. A lot of people think that you have to have 20% down to buy a house. And that's just simply not the case. There are a lot of options, there are a lot of down payment assistance programs available to people depending on, your credit worthiness and debt to income ratios, and all of that play a huge factor. So let's break it down into what I call the 3 buckets of money. All right, so the first little item that's gonna go in our bucket of money is your earnest money. Now, a lot of people may not know what this is. Earnest money is typically your spit in the handshake with the seller saying you're very earnest about buying this house. It just shows that you're serious, that you wanna put some skin in the game. It's being held by a title company here in Missouri. We use title companies and not necessarily attorneys, but it will be held at the escrow company for you while we're under contract, right? So over the next 30, 45 days, you've got this money that's gonna be applied to your down payment. It'll be applied towards the purchase of the home at closing, but if you default on the contract, it is at risk. You should be aware that you can potentially lose this earnest money. Now, it's my job as your agent to protect that earnest money. So find a good agent that you know, like, and trust, that you know is going to keep watch of all your timelines, all your contingencies, and make sure that you get that earnest money back if you need to back out for the right reasons within your contingency timelines. Now, something important to note is a lot of buyers that ask me when I'm first putting a contract together, they wanna know how much should I put for earnest money. Now, I'd say typically in our market here, $500 to $1,000 is what you might see for, I'd say a house between $150,000 and $300,000. As you start going up in price though, sellers really generally across the board like to see a little more skin in the game than that. I'd say maybe you'd be pretty good with maybe 1% of the purchase price, maybe just a little under. It just depends if you're buying a new construction. There are a lot of times that they want a pretty good chunk, maybe even more than 1%. That'll be paid up front, and a lot of times with new construction, it's non-refundable, so keep that in mind. All right, so the next little item that goes in our bucket of money is the down payment, of course. So the down payment is going to range, like I said, depending on what type of loan that you're getting. If you're doing USDA loans or VA loans, you have no down payment, right? With VA loans, though, I get a lot of people that think, oh, well, if it's a VA loan, I don't have to pay anything out of pocket. I don't have any closing costs, which we'll talk about here in just a second. That's just simply not the case. So I want to just erase that myth. There are costs involved when you're getting a VA loan. As far as your down payment goes, I'd say a lot of people who are first-time home buyers, they like the FHA loan because it's only 3.5% required down. That could definitely help you. I've used a USDA loan on my own home purchase with 0 down. There's a lot of benefits to that, but there's also a lot of drawbacks to 0 down, which we'll talk about in another video. All right, generally what I want you to take away from all of that is the more money that you can save, the more money it's going to save you over the life of the loan. You're going to be paying less for the home overall if you plan on staying in the home for a long time. The more money you can pay up front, the better off you're going to be. So just for an example, if you're buying a $100,000 house, then 3.5% would be $3,500 that you'd be required to bring to closing in addition to the other parts of your bucket of money, which leads us into the third part, your closing costs. Now, this can get really crazy trying to understand all of the ins and outs of what's included in your closing costs. Generally, it's just the cost of acquiring that loan is going to be the majority. If you are getting a loan, then your closing costs are going to be substantially higher than obviously paying cash. The other part of your closing costs is going to be your title and escrow and processing fees. The person that is responsible for the title search, your title insurance, make sure that you are able to maintain title to the property as long as you own the property, right? Those things are going to be in there. Also your taxes, your homeowner's insurance. A lot of lenders will charge their own kind of fees in there, discount points. You want to make sure that they're not just charging you to get a lower rate, buying down sometimes that's okay, but you just want to kind of be aware of everything that's in your closing costs. So just to give you a kind of a generic idea of what you can reasonably expect to pay here in our market, I'd say for a $150,000 house, you should reasonably kind of be budgeting for about $40,000 to $4,500 total in closing costs. Now, some of this can be paid for, negotiated to be paid for by the seller. That's my job. If you've at least got it planned and budgeted in and know that you've got it there if you need it to get the house that you really want, that's where you want to be. And if not, boom, you've got some extra money that you can use for flooring upgrades, get all those kitchen appliances that you want, put the fence in, whatever you're going to need to do to the house once you move in. All right, so let's just add up all these fees together so you can kind of get an idea of what it would cost. Maybe let's just say for that previous example that I was using, $150,000 house using an FHA loan. So if you get 3.5% down, that would be about $5,250. Your closing costs, like we mentioned, might be somewhere in the ballpark of $4,000. So you're in it for about $9,250. And yes, your earnest money, whatever you decide to put while you're under contract, will be applied as kind of a portion of your down payment. So that will already be included in that total cash to close, if that makes sense. Now, one thing that we didn't really cover as far as other miscellaneous things are your appraisal and your home inspection. You're not required to get a home inspection, but I always advise you to definitely get one before you close on the house. So depending on what type of home inspection you get, you might be looking at anywhere between $300 and $500 on the low end for a home inspection, depending on the size of the house, and then anywhere from $400 to $500, maybe $550 for an appraisal. So you might add, just for a safe, extra grand onto that $9,250. So you can reasonably expect to pay out of pocket about $10,000, maybe just a little over. Now, again, I will help you negotiate to get some of those closing costs paid by the seller if you can make a good offer and put some of that money back in your pocket. But that's will be for another video. All right, we'll talk about that next time. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know buying a house can seem really overwhelming for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be. And that's the main thing I want you to take away from this. If you can break it down and be prepared, have a game plan, you're going to come out all right in the end. All right. Thanks for watching again. My name is Jason with Greater Nixon Homes, and I'll see you in the next video.